We're here at the ruins to do the things. Listen up, Bargelo. Your job will be to take out our quarry's bodyguards. Sonia and her men will go in first to see their lookouts. Is this going to be one of those story situations where it's like, we've introduced some character that you've never heard about that is important to one of the characters that you have heard about, and because this clearly isn't going to be the end since it's chapter 2, not chapter 3, we're going to try to take out Herminia, and this bitch instead is going to die, and it's going to be like super tragic for our more established character that we have here, and then it's going to lead into chapter 3. Maybe. That's my prediction here, because, you know, I've seen enough stories to know that that's sometimes how these things go, you know? Transactions being conducted in the innermost chamber. The witch herself, you leave to me. Got it? I'll put it straight. We may not come out of here alive. But if we do, we'll share a toast with the finest wine in the realm. Okay. Never played RCT, but that had you pissed off with how BS that is. In your opinion, Halo 4 is the most offensive story in existence. It's kind of a Sly 4 situation, but you never played those games, but Halo 4 just ignores the lore of Halo 1 too. Yeah, I've never played Sly 4 either. I've never owned a PlayStation past the PlayStation 2, so, like, I can't even play it. Well, I could emulate it nowadays. Like, we played Metal Gear 2 on a PS3 emulator, for example. You know, OG Metal Gear 2, not Metal Gear Solid 2. We played the HD collection version of Metal Gear Solid 3, which had a version of Metal Gear 2 in it. So I've technically used the PS3 emulator before, so I could play it nowadays since PS3 emulators exist and stuff. But I just could never bring myself to play it. Like, I looked up the story of it, and I was just like, I don't think I can bring myself to play this. I'm just so appalled by it. Ready? I'm counting on you. Yes, let's enter the ruins. Alright, this is our time to shine. Yarrow, are your legs shaking? It's nothing. I'm just cold, that's all. It's Virgo time. See you inside. Be safe. Bargelo. She's gonna die. What do you bet? I bet. Before she gets to say whatever she was gonna say. Like, it's leading up to that, right? Alright, just away we go. Away we go. This is that area that I was grinding in before I found out about the daily stuff forever ago. Anyway, when it comes to, like, stories in video games, there's stories for me, like Xenoblade Chronicles 3, for example, where the more I analyze it preparing for the video essay, the more I'm like, huh, I wasn't the biggest fan of that, and, you know, my conclusion in the video essay script that I've been writing for Xenoblade 3, which is going to take me so long to put out that I'll probably just wait until the DLC comes out and then I can cover everything. I genuinely think that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is probably my least favorite game in the Xenoblade series. It's not my least favorite story. My least favorite story would be X, obviously. But, you know, that's the kind of thing where it's like, I don't think it's bad. You know, I feel like it missed a lot of marks that, you know, the other ones were able to hit a lot better. There's a lot of things I don't like about the story, but still good. Like, it still had a lot of things going for it, and it's still an enjoyable time. I still like it. I just don't think that it, you know, was quite the same quality as other ones. It's not something like that for Sly 4. A situation like Sly 4 is so bad that I straight up hate it. Whereas, you know, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 story, something like that, is like, okay, it's got some cool things going for it. It's got some cool arguments going on here. It's got some cool characters and stuff. I wish that the overall execution had been a little bit better, but it's not bad. It's good. Honestly, I'll even go to say it's great. It's just not amazing, masterful, absolutely out of this world, you know. Something like Sly 4, just straight up, is bad. No. It just threw out, like, absolutely everything that was established beforehand. And it's just like, yep. How about no? It's like the people that were writing Sly 4 just looked up, like, the simplest summary of Sly 1 to 3 and completely misunderstood it. And it's such a mess. We had every Halo on every difficulty, even Legendary, except 4, you played it once and will never touch it again. That's how offensive you found it. Same with 5, except that game's story is just boring with bad gameplay and frame drops, so it just kind of got disappointing and stuff. I'm not gonna go into a whole nother rant about, about the quality of Sly 4. I've done that on the channel before. I think it's even in the podcast playlist from the time that I did it during Assassin's Creed Rogue. I think I was mentioning this semi-recently on the channel, where it's like, there aren't a lot of my playthrough things that I go back and watch sometimes, because, you know, there's so much playthrough stuff, and it's like, why do that when I can just, you know, stream some more new things? But that one episode of Assassin's Creed Rogue, where I just ramble about how awful Sly 4 is, I go and watch that back, like, at least twice every year. is the case. And just listen to it over again. But the short version, like, just one of the biggest things, I'll just say one of the biggest things, because I've gone over the whole thing before, in a better way. I'll do it after this. Alright, everything looks in order. Sonia and Taviani will be waiting for us up ahead. Not much longer now. That witch will get what's coming to her. I can hardly wait. Up ahead. What's that? I'm no longer a pickle Morty. I've never watched Rick and Morty. I don't know any quotes. I was just thinking that looked like Rick from that, huh? I don't know what geezer like you doing in a place like this. Fools. If you value your lives, be gone from this accursed place. That's a good one. You must be a traveling minstrel. This was once the domain of a wealthy trader. I served him as his loyal butler. Oi. Now you're telling us a story? You gotta be kidding me. Beat it, Gramps. We're here on important business. If that is so, you do well to heed my words. Do you hear me? Every time I see the line, do you hear me, I always think of Xenoblade 1 Dunban. Do you hear me? Fiora! This is your first and only warning. So, you know how some people will, you know, make memes out of things where they'll just take some clip and then just, like, crank up the volume by a whole lot? I hate it when people do that. I think it's so obnoxious. Well, I saw an edit someone made of Dunban saying, do you hear me? But they made it, like, super duper quiet, so you could just barely hear him. I was like, do you hear me? Just barely in the distance. It's just stupid funny. Not ever away, you old coot. Unless you want both legs broken. No. Let's hear him out. Oh, the nightmares I have seen in this place. Atari headquarters. I mean, House Bertolini. They made their fortune in iron, mining the rich veins beneath their lands. But one day, the lord of the house passed suddenly. His first and second-born daughters were consumed with greed. I'm looking over at OBS. I'm wondering if I should turn it up just one notch, like that. Maybe. I don't know. Hoping to claim the entire fortune, they assassinated their relatives. And sold their little sister to a brothel in a far-off land. And so, the fortune was theirs. In a distant land, their sister sold her body for coin. Day in, day out, slowly building her own humble fortune. Eventually, she caught the eye of a powerful figure in the underworld. Todd from Atari. She took her place as his mistress, gaining more and more power. And befriended his lackeys, who then killed their master at her command. You can tell he got killed because the screen went red, taking her rightful place atop the underworld. She returned home. When she saw her sisters living their lavish lives, she ordered her minions to slaughter them. She reclaimed the family fortune and grew it further through heinous deeds. Now, some say she owns all of the continent. That woman. It was Lady Herminia. Isn't that so, old man?
Oh, yeah.
Indeed. My boy.
Oi, oi.
What? You gotta be kidding me. I knew she was crazy, but we have business with Lady Herminia. Please, let us pass. She left me a cripple, but my life was spared. Since then, I keep watch here. If you value your lives, be gone from this place. That woman is cursed by wealth.
Hi, hi.
Thanks for the story, Gramps.
Oi.
Let's go, boss. Taviani's waiting for us. Okay, that was deeper than I expected it to be. In a free app. Alright, let's go. Alright. Like I said, I've given, like, the full proper discussion on, like, you know, most of the things that Sly 4 did wrong with the story. But the one thing, the one biggest thing, in my opinion, ooh, what is over this way, is the spoilers for the entire Sly series here, by the way. And Sly Cooper, Sly comes from this long line of thieves, and they only steal from other thieves. They don't steal from the innocent, but they, you know, are this super duper long line of thieves that have been around since like forever. They write down like all their tricks in this book to pass on to future generations and stuff. All right, maybe it is a little bit loud actually when it goes into battle. So maybe I will actually turn it to what it was before, like that. And you know, Sly's super proud of his family heritage, and you know, in all these games, you know, he's trying to be like his ancestors before him and make them proud and stuff. But the main cop who's on his tail, Carmelita, who's also his love interest, you know, she's still trying to bring him to justice because she's like, what the heck, even if you're stealing from other thieves, where do you think they got it from? They still got it from innocent people, so you're still basically stealing from innocent people, and this is still, you know, morally wrong since it's not going back to the people that it was, you know, originally from, you know? This is still a bad thing, even if you try to make it better by stealing from other thieves. Yeah, we're back here. How are you doing today, Guzma? Do I want to, yeah, I'll face you while I'm chatting here about that stuff. And eventually, the final game in the trilogy, Sly 3, what it culminates in is you finally unlocking the, yeah, I will do. It finally culminates in you unlocking the Cooper Vault, which is basically where his long line of thieving family has stored away this, like, massive fortune that they've accumulated over the centuries, probably even thousands of years, with, you know, how long, you know, it goes on in the lore of that book. And, you know, it's just piles and piles of gold everywhere. It's like, his family was never all that interested in living lavish lives with the fortune that they were accumulating. They just wanted to store it away and basically have bragging rights to be the best thieves, essentially. They just were doing it for their pride. And, you know, when you first go into the Cooper Vault, you think that it's gonna be like this massive, like, fantastic thing that is like, wow, we did it, we made it to the place that's so fantastic and he's been looking up to all this time. But instead, it just feels like so hollow and empty. And, like, you know, what's the point of accumulating all this if it's not even gonna be used on anything? If it's just being used here purely for the pride of one family that has caused the creation of villains in the past. Like, the villain of Xenoblade Chronicles 3. The villain of Sly 3 was a friend of Sly's dad. And the reason why he's pissed off is because the fortune wasn't shared with him at all, despite the fact that he had a hand in acquiring it. Because the family and Sly's father just wanted to, like, you know, store it away for the sake of pride, rather than using it on the people that actually made it possible, you know? And that made villains. Yeah, that's why he's into surprise tax collecting. And it's like, wow, that's pretty darn deep there. So how the Sly trilogy ends is in the final boss against that big bad Dr. M, because I guess characters are evil when they just go by like one letter. You're fighting against him with Sly and Carmelita, them tag teaming this dudo. And eventually, in like a last ditch effort, he goes for a shot on her, and Sly ends up protecting her, taking the hit. Carmelita finishes the job and takes him down. And then all of a sudden, it's like Sly's lost his memory. He's like, who am I? What the? what the heck is going on? What is this place? And Carmelita is like, oh, you're my partner. You're a constable. Come with me. Let's get out of here. And he ends up becoming a cop. And it's revealed after the credits when one of the characters is spying on him, like to see that if his life is doing okay and stuff like that. And he turns to the camera and does a wink that tells you that he faked amnesia. You know, so the whole story of the trilogy is him, you know, throughout the trilogy, he's putting his family up on this massive pedestal and looking up to them like, wow, they're so amazing, these master thieves and stuff like that. But then, you know, by the end realizes that maybe he shouldn't put them up on this pedestal. That, you know, his family created these enemies by ignoring the people around them and instead having a greater focus on, like, their pride and their bragging rights as, like, the best thieves. And he decides to break that cycle instead of continuing it. And so the story about this thief ends in the trilogy with him no longer being a thief because he, you know, realizes that the cycle has to end somewhere. Want to know how Sly 4 starts? Sly 4, the writers of Sly 4, which, you know, 3 was meant to be the end of the trilogy. That's what the writers intended it to be. It's only when, like, Sony came along and was like, let's get another studio making it because, like, you know, it's a popular IP. Let's put another one out there. The writers behind that game, at the beginning of Sly 4, Sly's living his, you know, his new life where he's faked amnesia, and the thing that calls him back to action is he's like, you know, the old itch came back. I knew that I needed to do a heist. It's like, you're literally going to throw out Sly's entire trilogy character arc in the intro cutscene? Are you kidding me? Like, it's... literally, what? Like, you know, there's not a lot of, there are instances in stories I've seen before where it's like, okay, that's sloppy writing. But that's a case where it's like, were they literally trying to just, like, butcher this as much as they possibly could? They're just gonna take his entire character arc that ends in him finally being like, yeah, I need to put this life behind me and end the cycle. And just immediately start the new story with, you know, the old itch came back. I needed to steal things. It's so dumb. I hate it so much. Let's see here. So, I don't know. I would probably just do something like this. Because I don't know. Something like, there's a loose hair on my phone screen there. Sure, we can do something like that. The final update for this game is finally coming out, at least for the Japanese version. For the English release here, apparently they've been making small updates that continue the story a little bit more, just haven't continued in a while. Huh. Interesting. Interesting there. Alright, let's do that. Anyway. So I'm not gonna give, you know, the entire discussion today since, you know, I've done it before, and anyone that, you know, that wants to see, like, my full ramble, just scroll through the podcast playlist and find that one episode of Assassin's Creed Rogue where I talk about, I think it's in the podcast playlist. If it's not, I'll have to add it there. Or just look through the Assassin's Creed Rogue series and find the part that's somewhere in the 30s that's called Why Sly 4 Sucks. And it's literally just me playing Assassin's Creed Rogue while rambling about the whole thing. But that right there, that was the worst sin. And there's a lot of really awful things about the story of Sly 4. But in my opinion, that is the worst thing. Oh yeah, you're just using the makeshift staff there. I could have even put a rod on you. Is what I could have done. Do I have anything better here? I wonder? Whatever. I guess I can probably get some better equipment at some point. But yeah. That was one of the first videos I've seen from you. You laughed so hard. It's like they were actively trying to write, like, the worst story they could. I hate it so much. Oh my goodness. My hate for Sly 4. If we ever, you know, sometimes, I think I still have the layout set up. Where, you know, for the most recent 24-hour charity stream. Yeah, I do still have it set up. Where it's like, you know, during charity events, if we hit these crazy goals, we'll do things like Enharmonia cosplay for the rest of the stream. Or, you know, community vote for, you know, the Scarlet and Violet playthrough as we have going on in Discord right now. And you'll always notice, and really tiny down in the bottom right there, is Sly 4. So it is possible that it might be played on the channel one day. But only if we hit, like, an absolutely outlandish, like, fundraising goal on the channel. You know, a comparison that I like to use here is at some GDQ event. 100 reasons why Sly 4 sucks. Yeah, that's what to do there. But yeah. While you make a meme about the highest donation goal being to play that game, yeah, something like that. The 100k subscribers. Just talk about the 100 reasons why Sly 4 sucks. Anyway, a comparison that I like to draw here with that goal is this one GDQ event where the speedrunner was doing the Octo expansion of Splatoon 2. And there was this really long elevator cutscene sequence where, why is it lagging here? I mean, you know, it's not like it's hooked up to my computer. Well, it is hooked up to my computer, but just charging. This is, you know, being streamed to my computer is the case. Anyway, and during this long elevator sequence where not a whole lot is going on, the speedrunner was just like, oh, if anyone donates $100 right now with the words floss, I'll floss. And unsurprisingly, a lot of $100 donations came in at that time, all saying floss, and he stood up and started flossing. And you can tell that he clearly wanted to do it. You know, he wasn't saying it as like some outlandish thing that he didn't expect anyone to do. He was doing it because he expected people to do it and because he clearly wanted to floss. I set the goal of, you know, the fundraising goal for doing Sly 4 so insanely high because I don't want to do it. And I don't expect it to be done, you know? I just figure, you know, if we ever get to some, you know, if for any charity event we hit some amount that's like absolutely out of this world, then sure, I'll do it. But I purposefully set it to like something that's so much higher than all the others. Like every other award, I'd have like a little bit closer to each other. Yeah, it's the mobile game. How are you doing today, DS Shock Trooper? Like the other ones are a bit closer, like it's 500, 1,000. If I had a tier on top of that, it would normally be like 1,500 or something like that. You know, like the next level up. But, you know, it's straight up more than double what the last highest reward is, you know, because, you know, I don't want to do it. The only possibility in which I'd want to ever see myself doing it is if we hit like some insanely high fundraising goal, you know. Something that, you know, on one hand will be good for charity, but on the other hand, I genuinely do not want to play Sly 4. You know, still owe Guzma fishing in Tales of Rise. Well, I don't owe it per se. I said that I might, you know, do it at some point, but it was technically never something that I promised per se. But yeah, play the game at 100k subscribers. What's that guy doing? No, I'm just gonna leave him actually. Well, we'll see. I still haven't figured out like what we should do for 20k subs. That's something that I'm gonna have to figure out here, and I don't know what right now is the case. Okay, around this way we go. Yeah, I could just ate dinner and grind your character and drag a dogma to level 200. Nice. I'm not actually familiar with that myself, but sounds pretty neato. But yeah, I mean maybe one day I might, but you know it's not. I don't really have any plans right now, especially with like, you know, everything is crazy schedule-wise around here as it already is, you know, is the case. But yeah, there's that. Maybe one day I'll figure out something to do for like 20k around the channel. It's not gonna be Sly 4, absolutely not. Before anyone even thinks about proposing that as the idea, zero chance there. All right. So, yeah, look, there's some dead dudos. What do you bet that one lady, Sonia, Sophia, whatever it was, is bitten dust. But yeah, donation goal, 6 hours of Misc finishing minigames. We just do, like, a bunch of fishing minigames across, like, every game I own that has a fishing minigame, and then make a tier list of, like, the best fishing minigames in video games I've played. But yeah, don't have any plans tomorrow night, so you're available for Tales Symphonia. Oh, neat. We can reach out in the mod room there, and I can also, you know, ask some online friendos being like, hey, I want to hop into Tales of Symphonia, see what things are going on there. But yeah, Octopath, you need to try the original game on Xbox. Is it available on Xbox now? I know that they added it on PC and stuff. Did they just bring it to like every platform? I would recommend. I like it.